here, Hillbilly Half Acre Homestead. Welcome back to the homestead. Finally getting around to some things that I've been meaning to do since, probably about June last year. These guys have been drinking out of crocks. Isn't that a crock? Anyway, I'm gonna finally, we don't need that there today. Make it a little easier to work if that's out of the way. We are gonna finally get this watering system situated. Hopefully, if I've got, as long as I've got enough materials, and I won't really know for sure until I get it all kind of mocked up here. And I put down there where, on that cage down there where Jasmine is, I've already put a water nipple right down here. Okay, this is going to be the beginning of the run. So the hose is connected to this water nipple right in here. That gives a drop right there. It's going to come across here. I cut it here. Here's a T. There's going to be a drop right here going down to this water nipple right there. Okay, and then I come across here. Here is another tube. This is where another T. This is where I had gotten to. This was the older hose that I had left over, and then I had to go get the new stuff. Now what I'm going to do is right here on the end of this cage. Hi, buddy. Hey there. Somebody put a window on here, huh? All right. And anyway, I'm gonna put a watering nipple right here, and then a drop down to it, and then I'm not real sure. I think I may just run it across right here and put a T and run a drop down to it. Basically, when you're mocking up these watering systems, folks, what you have to do is you have to keep in mind, number one, you're going to need a spigot or a nipple or whatever you choose to call them. You're going to need the nipple. You're going to need a spring. If you use the kind of like I do, you're going to need a nipple, a spring, and a T for basically every watering location. Okay? And now, in the past, I did these like this, to where I ran the hose and just connected it with a short piece right here. I found out I don't really like this, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make it so that this long run is going to be up here, and then a longer piece is going to connect down. And what that does is that gives them a little bit more pressure by giving them that extra few feet of drop for, to give them a little bit more water pressure coming out of here. I mean, it does okay, but see, that's pretty good. But this was just filled up, a couple hours ago or so. Anyway, it'll give them an extra little bit of drop and give them a little more push. That's just been filled up a couple hours ago. And so what happens, they've got pretty good pressure, but when you get down to where you've only got so much water in the bucket, the pressure does drop a little bit. I've never had a situation to where they were going without water, but I don't want to either. So, a lot of times as these nipples get older, they get a little harder to press and what have you, and and it gives a pretty good drop of water. But anyway, I'm going to try this a little different, and I'm going to make one solid run across the top, and at each cage, I'm going to make, for the T, I'm going to make a drop down to the spigot. Okay? So, what I'm going to do now is somewhere in this area right here, I'm going to hang a bucket underneath this awning on the front of this building. Somewhere up here, I'm going to hang a bucket or put up a shelf. Well, excuse me. Yes, you'll get a drink too. A lot of it is these watering things. They go empty. They get nasty. What have you? I like this watering system, but if you don't have that, the watering crock or a bowl or some kind, to me, is the next best thing, because it seems to me like if you try to use the water bottles, it seems like you the rabbits spend all day sitting at that water bottle, licking that little ball on the, and it seems like they never get enough water. If rabbits don't get enough water, they're not going to eat enough food. If they don't eat enough food, they're not going to grow out right, and they're not going to condition right. And that can, yes, that's still a factor, even if you're not raising your rabbits for show, because the sooner the rabbits reach the weight where you're going to butcher them, if you're raising them for meat, the sooner, the less feed you have to pay for, and so the less your meat costs, okay? So that's something to think about. So what I'm going to do here is, knowing that that bucket that I'm going to hang somewhere in this area, I'm going to start right there, and then I'm just going to kind of guess at it, but I'm going to leave some extra so I can trim as needed. And keep in mind, it's going to add probably about a ½ an inch per tee, or per drop. You're going to add about a ½ an inch for the center of the tee, something like that. Maybe not quite that much. Anyway, okay, right in there, something like that. So, let go. Where'd my cutters go? Been getting a lot of rain here in northeast Arkansas, and this place is nasty and muddy. And I prefer not to get this hose all muddy. Not that it's going to hurt the rabbits, because it's going to be clean. The water on the inside is going to be clean, but you know, I don't want to have to handle it all muddy if I can help it. Okay, so now we are going to hook this on here. This one end I had right here, so I'm going to hook onto that tee. Push it on there. This tubing is 5/16 clear tubing. I bought it at locally. We buy a lot of this stuff at Orson Farming Home. Okay, right here we've got a drop, and we're gonna put a. A lot of people don't like using the word nipple. Nipple doesn't bother me. We have furry animals that have babies, and they've all got nipples. It doesn't bother us. But these little spigots, if you prefer, I purchased through Amazon. They're not the best in the world, but they were cheap. I think 100 of them, 100 of these little spigots, 100 of the little springs, and 100 of the tees, I think was $50, shipping included. And I bought those 2 years ago, and I still haven't used them all up. Okay. Now I'm going to put this right in here. If I continue to use this cage as a grow out pen, I'm going to end up adding more, because you probably, if you're putting this kind of thing on a grow out pen, you got them little bunnies in there fighting for water, you're probably going to want to make available one of these for every 3 rabbits that you're growing out in that pen. I've got this sized up, so I've got this hose over here, and I think I actually ended up cutting too much, so that's no big deal. But what's going to happen is it's going to go just about somewhere along here. Now I'll probably end up making some kind of a standoff here to hold this out away from the cage so the rabbits don't chew a hole in it. That would be bad if they chewed a hole in this, because it'll drain the whole bucket. It won't stop dripping until the bucket's empty, and then everybody on this system don't get a drink. Nobody does. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bucket up here somewhere, and this cage and those around there are going to connect to it as well. In fact, there's a bucket on top of my buck cage around there, and I'm going to be moving it right up here, and the tee from the outside of the bucket is going to go, part of it's going to go, this run is going to go that way, and then there's going to be a run going that way. And it's going to drop down and water this one, and then all 4 of those buck cages around there. And then we'll have everybody, with the exception of Gracie and Grubs, who are over on the other side of the house. Everybody else will be on an automatic system then. But I cut this a little bit long, a little bit longer than I needed. So I'm going to take, and this vinyl tubing, you don't need a special tool. You can cut it with scissors. I'm using the same side cutters that I use to cut this wire when I build cages. No, there's nothing, you don't need any kind of special tool or anything like that for it. I'm gonna add maybe an extra foot there or something like that. Alright, and I'm gonna cut that off. And I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna roll this. Right there like that. Morgan, you keep your teeth off of that.
Well, she's a little busy.
Yeah, Morgan's, I just put this nest box on this cage. You remember from previous videos, I had this used as a grow out, and then Sally was in here with a standard nest box. Well, Morgan, I confirmed yesterday, is got some buns in the oven.
5 days. They're due in 5 days.
This is a Wednesday. We're filming this on a Wednesday afternoon, and she is due Monday. Monday the 27th, I think.
I think so.
Anyway, this is what you do. You got your main run. Okay. Now here, something like that. See there? No problem. When you cut, make sure, I do anyway, make sure the straight line on the back here is going to be straight across. That way you got a good square cut once they're done. And then you just take and hang on to that spigot and maybe throw that down so you ain't trying to. Seriously? Anyway, hey, don't chew on that. No, quit. Hey, don't film this. Anyway, don't bite my finger neither, you little rascal. I can't threaten them right now. I think all these rascals, except for maybe 2 of them, are sold. So I can't threaten them because they technically belong to somebody else. A lot of these guys are headed to Benton, Arkansas, to the Revis show with us on March the 18th. Yeah. I hope pay no attention to the chicken porn down yonder. Now, right here, I'm going to put a place for a drop, something like that. So I'm going to go right here and make a cut. Right here. Now I've got the tea in my hand. I'm gonna flush all this out. Some of these teas could have a little dirt in them or dust in them, whatever. Probably flush all that out when I get this going. I don't know if I'll get it going today. I just thought, I know I've got a video up about a watering system, and I noticed some people do still watch that, and that's great. But I just thought, you know, maybe somebody would like to see something a little more up to date. I think that video is a couple of years old. Now I need to cut off and shorten this electrical cord here, but I've got some outlets, more outlets, and I'm wanting to put up some more light out here, and I think I'm just going to use that and cut it and splice the outlets in and what have you. Maybe, I don't know, but that's why I haven't cut the extra off the cord. Oh, I know, a lot of y'all are saying just throw that stuff away and get a new one. Yeah, okay, you don't have the money for all that stuff on a homestead. If they want to, you do good to make money to feed everybody. Dana, what do we go through and feed a month?
Oh shoot, I don't know. I know it's.
Well, we bought this month. Originally we went and bought 6 bags.
And then bought 3 more last night.
We went and bought 3 more last night.
Mhm.
So that's 9. And this is what, the 22nd?
Mhm.
So we still got a lot of months left. So we may end up using 10 or 11 bags. But we've got a lot of grow outs. Now last month I think 6 bags pretty well do us?
Mhm.
Or 7? No, we went and got 1 more.
Yeah.
We went and got that 7th bag.
No, you bought 7. We ended up going to get 8.
All these little rascals were in it. A lot of them were in a nest box.
Or still on
and
mom's
still nursing
bellies.
off of mama.
Yeah.
So now we're having to feed them solely. So, or you know, solely off of you know, feed. They're not nursing off of mama anymore. So it takes a lot more to feed them. Okay, now,
Hey, Dum Dum, don't chew on the wire or the tarp. Oh, that lilac right there is chewing on the...
Oh, Chewy. Chewy in there. Is that your name, Chewy? Huh? I would have called you Sterling, but Sterling went home. You're not Sterling, you're Sterling's sister. That one is going to...
I thought Sterling's sister was in here.
Huh?
I thought Sterling's sister was in here.
You're right, you're right. See, I'm glad. See, that's why we tattoo these rabbits, folks, so we can remember. Dana wants to be cute and remember without looking at a tattoo, but you know, that's just how she is.
Just because I paid more attention.
That's just how she rolls. Okay. Something like it. Now I was going to tell you folks, I don't really think that I want to do this. I might toy with it in the future. But if you do this way, you can take and put this on the door.
Yeah, but wouldn't that mess it up when you open the door?
Well, that's what I'm fixing to show you. Okay, see, there's your water thing. Now, if you're going to have babies in here, you want to have it way down here to where they can reach it. But okay, now, say that T, if you were going to do that, you would put that T right here above the door, okay, and it's going to connect right here to that T, right? Now look, we open up the door. Ain't got enough hands. Okay, now look, you open up the door, look what happens. See that hose moves in and out with it? See there? Sally says, get away, you fat human. Okay, there's that. There's that one. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here. Now, I've got nest boxes. The reason, see this open place here? I could put a drop here, I could put a drop here, but I don't want them trying to get to the water spigot over the opening for that nest box. So this, even though I've got this hay rack here, no big deal, okay? Because I'm going to put it right here, something like that, and I'm going to make the drop because it's going to be low anyway. And see, the hay rack doesn't protrude into the cage, so if I put that right here, they're still going to be able to get to it just fine, or even if I put it right here, the door is not going to affect it. Or, you know, I can even put it right back there. But if I put it in a convenient spot, they are more likely to get checked. Okay, because what you have to keep in mind, occasionally these little spigots, they get little, you know, you get stuff in the lines and what have you, and they will kind of stop up a little bit. Okay.
Or the spring will rust and break.
Well, that ain't got nothing to do with what I'm saying. I probably could have. Yep, that's a little long. Okay, put it right here. So I wasted 4 inches, but that happens. Hey, come here. Alright. Ouch. So there's that. And now this piece is going to connect right here. Alright. And now I can get me out a spigot and a spring. No problem. So we can take that and put it, well, we can connect that spring right about there. Hook it around and then we'll pull it up, put that right about there. And see the door closes, doesn't affect anything. Alright, now we've got that. See, this hose is still here, still plenty of length to reach up to that bucket. But now I need my other piece that I had. But I don't think, did I have another short piece? I don't think this is long enough to make a drop out of. It might be. No, that's going to let it come down and in the way of the door, and I want it up here. So we'll try that in another spot. I don't ever throw it away until I've ruled out every possibility of being able to use it somewhere else for something else. That's just the way I do it. Waste not, want not. Even though I did waste 4 inches of hose, but we'll live, I think. Now then, I've got to have a drop for this. So I'll cut right off of this. And this is what I do. As I go, I just